But until then, we're going to sit here and tell you that absolutely nothing is going on in the CBA with the major league owners and Major League Baseball players. A lot of controversy over Max Scherzer, who has earned the right to make close to $300-400 million in his career driving a Porsche. That was one of the dumbest headlines I've ever seen in my life from the Associated Press. But it happens, and they're having the negotiations. And I think the biggest thing that's come out of this last week. And I'll wait to, we'll hear what Tuttle has to say. But the biggest thing that came out to me was that February 28th is a deadline for some reason. I was kind of surprised by that because, I kind of figured that March 3rd, 4th might be the time that they have until, because they pushed some of the games back to March 5th. But apparently February 28th is that cutoff and that hard deadline. But somebody on Twitter, not me, and I just read this, and I found it interesting, so I have nothing to. This is not my quote.
You're reading a statement.
I am reading a published statement on a social media channel, and it may have been a player, it may have been somebody in the media. But why is there a February 28th hard deadline when there were 84 days or 85 days you could have been having this conversation instead of the last week? So, some valid points being made there. Give me an idea of what you've been reading and what you've been keeping up with.
Well, I wrote down one question at the top of this thing, and it was to ask you. What does this deadline mean? Like, where did the deadline come from, and who pulled that out of thin air?
You're right, though. Yeah. What's that deadline entail?
Yeah.
It's not a debt. You need to get a deal done.
Correct. And then maybe, anyway, we talked about last time about the spring training sites, and maybe there's a challenge in the spring training sites, but it just feels like an arbitrary number again, and I have a feeling it wasn't the players that put that out. February 28th, it just seems very arbitrary. If they want to get stuff done, if the deal gets done in the next, like you said, if it gets done March 4th, are they still going to delay the season just for the heck of it because they can't scramble and get it done? I mean, it would kind of be like, well, we're really close to finding a vaccine that, works, but we're got to take a day off. It just doesn't happen. There's no days off. Let's keep the thing moving. And if you can get spring training going and get everything on, let's not worry about the deadline. Let's worry about sitting in the same room. I actually know who tweeted out what you said. Actually, it's funny.
Oh, if you have the name and you want to drop it, go for it.
No, I think it was Alex Wood is the tweet I read.
Okay, yeah.
He left-handed pitcher for Dodgers and Giants. Yeah. He just said the same thing. I mean, I'm sure 90,000 people tweeted out something along the same lines. I mean,
true.
Yeah. Why is there a February 20th deadline? We've been sitting here locked out since December 1st or whatever the day. It's kind of
You're right.
Anyway, yeah, it's a great point. He made a great point. So anyway, so no new news.
That's where we sit.
We have a deadline. What's today? The 25th. So 3 days, folks. When you hear this podcast, it'll be the deadline, right? It'll be deadline day.
Yeah, hopefully hopefully by the time that this podcast does come out, we're wrong. Hopefully there's an agreement, and so that would actually put us in the position of the next podcast to go, hey, game on. Yeah. And that's where everybody wants to be. And it's just amazing that everybody wants the outcome, but there's so much pushback. I almost said something.
No.
Yeah,
I
think there's more.
Yeah,
I think there's more going on the owner side behind the scenes than there is behind the scenes with the players, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. I do. I mean, I think I know where our biases lie, but I will say this, that
yes.
I just think it's any negotiation. This has nothing to do with baseball or anything else, these collective. The media is so funny because what are you going to give to the media? It's like, oh, we're nowhere near. We're never close. Like we're idiots to read every day and go, oh my God, they're nowhere close. Oh my God, the deadline's February 28th. There's going to be parties that want to get this thing done, and maybe they both want to get it done. And we were talking about the back channels for the free agents.
I'm sure there's owners that definitely want to get it done, but I think that's where I was trying to explain it is you really have a unified front in the players. I'm not sure if it's that way on the ownership side.
Correct.
That
makes sense. No, it makes sense. Yeah. It makes perfect sense. Yeah. I mean, they're, 32 owners and, maybe 20 of them are aligned or something like that. And then there's a few.
Because you have different markets, different ideas of how the game should be,
Correct. I was just going to say revenue sharing, and it's a business. Yeah. It's like, look, I can take losses for 6 months and you can't.
If I can, I want to explain something real quick because the CBT, it's starting to show up in some of these Twitter threads and articles. The CBT is that competitive balance tax, and that is, I think that's an argument on the owner. I feel like that's an owner idea and a player idea, because the players are worried about the top of that tax, what the threshold is on that, because it acts like a soft cap, salary cap. But then I think maybe on the ownership side, they're trying to, how do they don't want it to be as high, but they want it to be a little bit lower. But at the same time, I think they want the money that's shared to be used differently.
Right. Which to your point kind of divides what you said. So maybe the players are more unified. The owners are a little divisive because that soft cap or that CBT affects teams differently, right? Like the Yankees and the Dodgers. Yes,
you're right. That's right.
That's the
that
point.
CBT does, yes.
Right. So I'm the owner of the Dodgers, and I don't really care about the CBT because I'm paying it anyway. Right. And so, but I'm the owner of the Cincinnati Reds, and I'm, arbitrarily throwing out teams, but mid-market teams or small market teams.
No, but that's the right idea, is the market size, I think, affects the idea of what the CBT does.
Right. Which, to your original point, is that maybe behind the scenes, the owners aren't as unified as they could be because the money and the dollars affect them also differently. I mean, I think that's logical. But my point was... I said there's always come down to the 11th hour. We're not going to hear anything good like, ooh, they're really close to a deal. They're really close. You're never going to hear that. It's either going to get done or it won't. And there'll be some contentious statements, maybe right before. And then this is what the speech will sound like, folks. Ramos, mark this tape.
No, you're spot on.
Here's the speech. Oh my God. Yeah, it was a lot of hard work, and we're just super excited to kind of have worked this out, and we got another 3-5 years, whatever the agreement is, to we're really excited to start playing baseball again and business as usual. Yeah, it was a hard fought negotiation, but we respect them and they respect us, and I mean that's going to be both sides. That's what it's going to be.
You're right.
So unless we're having this conversation in July, and if that's the case, then we might have to really step up our podcast because you won't be working, and it's going to be a tough deal.
I'm going to need to supplement some income here, boy.
Crazy.
I might start doing some more dude cut-ins on my Instagram, but
there you go.
No, that's great stuff. That's pretty well explained, and I think you're exactly right, Tuttle, about how it's going to end. It's just going to be it was a knockdown, drag out. Both sides wanted what they wanted. They got what they wanted, and here we are. Let's play some baseball, and all of a sudden, just forget everything that led up to this and focus on the game. And hopefully that's what it is too, because that's ultimately what we all want. But that's basically all we have for a CBA Major League Baseball update.
So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get notified when we post new videos.